Hello, Ponderers. We're back. We're,
Hi, Ponderers.
we're back for another deep dive. We're doing a deep dive into the pond, and this time we're dragging out, well, Dell. We don't know if she's ever been in the pond. We're dragging out Dell and Colton. We're going to see what we can discuss and talk about with their relationship. Their relationship's a complicated one, isn't it?
It is.
It's a interesting one. Let's see who's here. Ginger. Hi, Ginger. I love that. Rona's here. Hi, Rona. I can't wait to see you, Rona. Paula, Catherine, Chrissy's here. Candace is here. Who else? Do we have any new friends? If you're
Kathy
new,
is here. Cindy, did you see them?
oh, Cindy. It looks like love. Do we ever? This is. Do we know this name? And
It's
when
kind of familiar.
it does, okay. And again, I always say this: if we don't remember your name, please don't be insulted. Wait, I don't think I know this person. Who's this? Is this a new person? That's a joke.
We have Regina,
Hello.
Sandra, Pam.
Nice. They're all popping in. Very nice. So while we're waiting just another minute, and I'll say this in the beginning and in the end, for those of you that are in the area, Regina's like, I finally caught you live, neighbor. Hi, Regina. So Regina is going to be one of the people that'll be. This is Regina. She's going to be coming with to meet up on Saturday. So we're gonna get together, and it's a small group, just a little quick little, well, not a quick, we'll probably be there forever gabbing and gabbing. Meet up on this Saturday, the 17th, but Tuesday I was going to call in for reservations. She's all excited. Good. And if anybody at the last minute still wants to join us, I can still tag you on. The only thing is, I have all these little prize surprises and little gifts and stuff. And I already was thinking about that. I would have to have something, I had something made for everyone. So we have a little swag bag, and we're going to have dinner. And if you want drinks, they have a beautiful bar. And one of the recipes that I had done while I was doing recipes in that first season, I did it both times, but in that first season, we were obsessed with the White Witch. And I did a White Witch milkshake. And it's like a vanilla milkshake, but it has toasted marshmallow in it. Do you like
I remember that. You really loved it.
Yeah. Do you like toasted marshmallow or no? Is that not your thing?
No, I'm fine with it.
You're fine.
Mhm.
So I thought, what if I'm into making these icebox sort of kind of ice cream cakes. And I made one for my brother-in-law for his birthday. It came out nice. So I was like, I'm going to try to make the White Witch, but as an ice cream cake. And I practiced and it came out.
Wow.
So I think I'm going to bring it.
Yay.
Yes. Yes. Yum, Regina says. Kathy, I wish I could go, but GA is too far away.
Georgia? You're from Georgia, Kathy?
Yes, I think so. I think that's what she means right here. So here's the thing. Thank you, Christina. She says I always do an awesome job. Kathy, when we have a real one, like when I don't mean real, this isn't fake, but when we have like a full on kind of thing with, there'll be a reason for all of you. You'll want to come and stay the weekend, and you know, like there's a place for you to stay. I have a very little Hallmark town. We can make like a whole weekend of it. And I think that would be fun, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Rona, not again with your choir, and you're not coming now? Again with the choir? Again. Again with the choir, Rona. This is what happened last time, Rona. My heart is broken. So that's okay, Rona. You're not too far, and you can always catch up with us. All right, so let's deep dive. What do we want to talk about? Colton and Dell. What do you think, Kathy? Complicated.
It's very complicated. I think that they were very much in love. I'd really love to see them do a leap to the leap. I'm like in the quantum leap now. But if they could take the pond back to the time period when they met, I'd love to see their origin story. I think they were very much in love. I think that Colton was the heart of the relationship, and Dell was the brains of the relationship, and they complemented each other and loved each other to death. And I think that Dell has spent all of this time trying unsuccessfully to get over, excuse me, to get over Colton, and she just can't. And I think
Mhm.
there's a part of her that's accepted it because all of the encounters that she's had with Colton, he appears to her and then he
Yeah.
goes off and everything. She doesn't seem to be freaked out by it. I think she welcomes it, even if she thinks it's just in her mind.
Yes.
I think she finds it comforting, and I
She
think
does.
that is it Sam, the next door neighbor?
Mhm.
I think he's a red herring. I think there might be something shady about him. Just that's just instinct.
Right.
Yeah, a vibe I'm getting from him. And I think he would love to capture her heart. And I think she'd love to be able to give her heart, but she can't. I think she's trying very hard, but I don't think she can. I think Colton is it for her.
Yeah. So, if they are, I think that they're going to explore their relationship. I really do, just from the little bits that we saw. So, if they're next back into the past, even if it's just memories, because Dell obviously is not going to, that, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but not that she has to jump into the pond, but maybe whoever's in that pond now and going back. I'm thinking it would be the 70s. That was one of the questions I had asked when I was doing my car chronicles, as someone calls them, because that's when they would probably have been young. And we're going to see, I hope, because I remember him saying you were just a teenager when we met. And I'm thinking, how, when she tells you she's from, my people are from the Carolinas, how was it as a teenager and why was she even there? And I think the writers are smart because probably they don't know themselves, or maybe they do. But a lot of times when you aren't so specific about someone's background, it leaves room down the road for you to explore and have more storylines. So I'm excited to see exactly what their connection is. And obviously, somehow, though, it's very much connected with the Lingamore house and that whole Goodwin family, especially with Evelyn. And Evelyn, I thought was older, but maybe she just became a recluse and seemed older. But like people were like, oh, Evelyn maybe was like a dated Colton, but I don't know. I think there's an age gap of some sort there. What do you think it's the 70s? You think it's
I think it's the 70s, which I love. I mean, I hear the music and
yeah.
clothes and the whole ambiance. I tell you something else. I think Dell knows more than we think she knows.
Yeah.
I don't care if she's a Landry or what her maiden name is or what. I think she knows a lot more about the pond. Maybe even traveled herself. I don't know that for a fact. I just get this feeling there's a whole lot more to Dell and and Colton's relationship than just the happy marriage and the kids.
Someone said something when I made a post, someone said something interesting, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But Rona was saying exactly what you were saying, that does anyone think that Dell knows about the pond and that her husband time traveled? Hmm.
My theory and desire is that they may be doing kind of a time traveler's wife storyline with Dell that might start laying itself out in the third season since they introduced Colton at the end of season 2.
Right, right. This is just a side thing. Jan, no, I was joking, saying pretending like you were a new person and we didn't know who you were. That was just a joke. Sorry. Yes, I had asked you that because I was like, do you think he's a ghost? And
Nope.
you said no, but I was like, well then when he got injured and they thought he was dead, what did he do? Get up off the table and walk away? Whose body's in that?
Maybe he managed to make it to the pond and jumped in, and wherever he went, he was cured or healed. I don't know.
I know. That's so interesting. Regina says, I really want to know more background about that pond. Who was the first traveler? Oh.
Mm-hmm. You and
Oh.
me both, Regina.
Catherine says, I just want to see Dell happy in the 70s when they were younger. So, okay, so we get to see them. Go ahead.
I
Go.
was going to say, I get the distinct impression Dell was never happy. I believe even in the 70s, she had a middle aged affect that,
Yes.
I think Colton was the one who was full of the joy and happiness, and I think she loved him dearly, but I think she came out of the hatch, totally Dell. I just,
Serious and
yeah,
yeah.
totally serious. I think the only time she laughed was, maybe when Colton made her laugh. I think she was happy with him, but I didn't get the impression that she was, you know, all that.
One of the times that I remember, because I was rewatching and crying as I'm watching it because I forgot. I was rewatching season 1. I forget why, bits and pieces of it, probably last week for this research. And one of the things I thought was funny was when they first arrive, the kid, her daughter and, Kat and Alice. And Alice comes down in her pajamas and she tells her to let the dog out. And she goes out on the porch in her pajamas and she comes back in and she's all embarrassed, but she cracks up. She is a and then Kat comes down and she goes, "You actually did that?" And she goes, "That was wrong. That was evil, but I liked it."
That's what I mean. She's got a mean streak, and that's what makes her laugh, which kind of reminds me of me. But yeah.
Janice saying she agrees with you, Kathy, which means she's your BFF for tonight. Dell knows a lot she's not saying. And
Mhm.
Barbara says it seems like Colton would have told Dell something about the pond. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he did. And it's a conversation that we just haven't seen yet.
Yep.
And Arlene says maybe Elliot goes back to see his dad and mom as young adults, and that's how they introduce a young Colton and Dell. Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe Jacob knows something
Hmm.
that we don't know. What I found interesting, like you said, that Colton is sort of like she says he's a dreamer. She constantly says that. And although they seem very happy as husband and wife, there is that time where she's mad at him because she thinks he cheated on her. And she's mad at him because they're having financial difficulties. And he was spending a lot of money on like a detective or someone to figure out what happened. And now that we know he can time travel, I was thinking hard on this, and I would love anybody to jump in on this. Why would he do that if he knew that you could time travel? So I was thinking because he tried to time travel and it didn't take him to find out where his son was. So he was just making sure that he wasn't in that pond. Do you know what I mean? He was trying to cover all of the bases because that's something that I was curious about. And remember, he spent a lot of money, and also he started going to that therapy. Why was he going to that therapy? To get over missing his son?
Yeah, I
Is
think that was a good deal of it.
okay.
I think he didn't necessarily want to go off looking into the pond, even looking for Jacob, because Dell had already lost. I mean, they already lost their son. I don't think he wanted to leave her.
That's true, because who knows if the pond would bring him back, because the pond takes you where you need to go.
Exactly.
Oh,
He didn't want to take the chance that it would take him somewhere away from her.
yes. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, Elliot. Yeah, we know he time traveled and he's not a Landry because remember the law was he talked about he called it Finn. The it had to do with the Finn theory or the Finn whatever, and he had little notes in his notebook. As long the reason why Finn can travel is because he's with a Landry in the pond. That's how he could come back and forth. And also Elliot was able to travel because he went with Alice. Remember, they jumped in together.
Hmm.
So, yes, yes, and yes, 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 yes. So, it would be cool to see what if maybe they did time travel? And she just didn't talk about it. Maybe they did try to go in the pond, both of them, to look for Jacob, and no matter where they went, they didn't wind up where he finding him because here he's all the way back in the 1800s. So there's a lot. Yeah. Yes, a parent would cover all their bases. You're right, Norma. He would. He would say, just in case it could be this, this, and this. You're absolutely right. Especially when he talked to Danny, his friend, who kind of lied because he was afraid as a little guy. And he lied about where they actually were. So, yeah. Ginger said, I agree. I think he paid a detective because the stuffed animal was found by the ocean. Yep. I'd have to see Dell. I'd love to see Del time travel back to when Colton was alive. Yes. So I'm wondering, I asked Kathy, she thinks he's alive. What do you think? Yes, the Finn factor. Thank you, Barb. That's Barbara. That's what it was. What do you think? Those of you who are here, do you think that Colton is a ghost, or do you think that he's a time traveler? And well, we know he could time travel and he's still alive. I don't know. That shocked me when I saw that. Yeah. But if Colton knew about the pond, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay. Jan, tell us more. We want to hear more. Um, Cindy thinks a little bit of both. He's a ghost and a time traveler.
Time traveling ghost. Okay.
Yes. Kathy says, and the pond would not allow them to find Jacob because without Jacob going to the 1800s, none of them would be there in today's time. Well, isn't that a conundrum? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
But he didn't have any children.
Yeah, he didn't have any children when he went back then.
They aren't descended from him.
Right. He has no babies or children. So here's something.
And there's still a lot we don't know. I mean, we don't know anything really. I mean, we know the facts of who can go into the pond, and actually, we don't. We know who can go into the pond, but we're not sure who cannot go into the pond.
Right.
And always at the back of my mind is the pond takes you to where you need to be. And so there are unanswered questions about who was it that jumped into the pond and didn't get to go anywhere. Was it Alice? Oh, when Alice and her mom, Alice and Kat, jumped into the pond and they ended up in two different places. So I think that's part of the mystery, how all of this stuff is connected. I think it is connected. All the different eras, all the different people we've seen from the past and the present. I think it's all connected somehow. We just don't know the answers yet.
Alice also was able to time travel through the pond, but then when she tried again because she was upset, they wouldn't let her go, and she asked Elliot. Yeah,
need to go.
Right. Now, the other thing too is somebody was saying, I think it was Chris, he was saying that she thinks that maybe others can time travel too, by like the land belongs to the Landrys. Isn't it funny? That's their name. And that pond is on there. So they time travel through the pond. But it could be that the Goodwins could also time travel. And there's some kind of portal underneath there, a different kind of a portal to time travel through underneath Lingamore or something. Do you know what I mean? Like it could be something different for each of them as time goes on. I'm not sure. But I'm just so curious about their relationship. Now, someone had said that they felt that, and I don't agree with this, but that's just me, but this is what someone was saying, that there was a lot that Del's hiding. And she feels like Del had a miscarriage along the way, like between, like when, before she had her or something like that. I don't know. I forget exactly what they were saying. Felt like there was a miscarriage and that there was a lot more about Del and her. She had a lot of hurt along the way, which might make her more serious. So that's interesting. And again, why in the world is she there? How did she get there? Which I thought was interesting.
Del?
Yeah.
Oh, get there from the Carolinas.
Carolinas, yeah. Norma Sank, I think he's alive. Cindy says, I think Colton is out there somewhere. At least I hope. Regina's trying to figure it out. She says, if he's alive, where is he? I'm confused on Colton, still thinking about it. And Barbara's saying somewhere he has to be. We saw him time travel to, we saw him traveling in 1999.
He was the one watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even back then.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been back and forth. So that makes sense. Yeah, he's the one who he actually saw himself. Do you remember? And we've had Kat do that too. She saw herself. So that's interesting. Yeah. We never saw the body. We
saw a body that lost consciousness, and we assumed, as did the girls, that he was dead.
Right. Because he had already died before that, but we don't know that full story. So I could see I could see where that could go. Susanna couldn't time travel. Yes, because Susanna is not a Landry, so she
Well,
can't.
nope. I don't think it has to do with Landry. But remember, didn't Elliot try to travel and couldn't at some point, and then later on he could?
Because he went with Alice, because he had
Right.
to go.
So we don't know Susanna can't travel. She can't travel by herself.
Right. And she did try to travel. Did she try to travel with Kat? And it didn't happen?
I actually don't remember, but that's not unusual either. I mean,
Doesn't mean it was your
the
time.
rules are very flexible apparently with the pond.
Yeah. Regina says the writers are so amazing. I don't even want to guess. I will just watch and see.
Yeah.
So getting back to like Colton and Dell, there's this whole part where she feels like an imposter. She even says that she has like the imposter syndrome, especially when there's Founders Day and she's there representing the family. And she kind of felt weird like that before in the past. And she says it more than once, and always Colton is there to say, you're very much part of our family. Maybe not a Landry by blood, but you definitely are a Landry. And she loves the land and takes care of it and whatnot. So she's having such an identity crisis. I'm wondering why. Like, what is the reason for her to feel that way? And bring it up, like as if she didn't earn that title or something.
I think it may have something to do with her family. I hope we learn more about her family at some point versus Colton's family. I get the impression they were like total opposites.
Yeah. Jan says, if Colton knew about the pond and feared that he went in, he'd not come back. Why would he not believe that Jacob had done that and not have to go to a therapist? He probably does believe that. That's what I was saying. He probably
the therapist was trying to come to terms with his son was gone. It didn't matter, he probably went in the pond. Well, still you're devastated.
Yeah.
That your child is gone.
Yeah, and I think he tried everything. He tried the past. He tried to see if he was in the present. There was a lot going on. So, yeah. The one thing we do know is, as of now, no one has ever traveled to the future. You know what I mean?
We know of so far.
Yes, that we know of so far. Norma says, Elijah and Rebecca.
Do we count Jacob?
He's not coming to the future. He's already been from this time. You remember? He's been here before. He was born in this, you know what I mean, time.
But at the end, when he came back, was that 1999 or was that?
No, it wasn't 1999, but he was born of that time. He was just remember what Elliot said, if you're gone away for a day, time passes and you're gone away for a day here. If you're gone away for 5 years, 5 years will pass. You can, you know what I mean? And you come back, you'll be 5 years from, later. He was already born. He's really from the present time, not the past.
I don't know. I don't think I get that, but okay, we can move on.
Well, he's not born at Susanna's.
He ended up in a time that was at least 20 years.
I know.
Than where he was born. It didn't say, we haven't been talking in terms of you can't go to your same time period. I mean, for him, it was 20 years into the future. Well, actually, if you want to go from 1814, it was longer than that. But
people who were born, let's say they were born in, I don't know, the 1800s, and they can't get in there, and it sends them to 2025. It doesn't do that. It doesn't work that way so far. But anyway, who knows? We could be totally wrong. So getting back to Colton, this is what I think what was trying to say before. Elijah and Rebecca were going to leave Port Haven so they wouldn't have met their spouses. William would not have been born, or would have met his spouse with little Jacob, wouldn't have been born. Elijah and Rebecca were going to leave Port Haven so they wouldn't have met their spouses. You mean if Jacob didn't go back and they would have not stayed there? Whose spouses? You mean their son that they had? They had a second son because their first son died, right? And then they had a little boy, but they already had, I thought they already had the other son. They had two. And the first one, it was, I don't think it was the first one that died. I think it was the second one that died. So they would have left and never had stayed. Okay. I see what you're saying if that's the way it works. Yeah, and had little Jacob wouldn't have been born. Okay. The one we got to meet, remember? The other brother, his other brother. It also could be through Rebecca's bloodline.
That Rebecca's a Landry?
No, Rebecca's Landry by marriage, but the time traveling could come from Rebecca. I don't know. She was by the pond praying, and out came the little boy. Maybe Colton went into the future, knew he died, and tried to change the outcome.
That's
That
interesting.
could be Christina. Yeah. She told the cow old miss that she hadn't been through labor twice, so possibly could have miscarried at some point. Yeah, that's what someone was saying, that she lost a baby through miscarriage. Yeah.
But she went through labor twice with Jacob and Kat.
Yes.
That was twice.
Yeah. Yeah. She told that she had been through labor twice, so possibly could have had a miscarriage at some point. Remember, I said someone was saying that they thought Dell had a lot of heartache and that she had a miscarriage somewhere along the way. Kat and Jacob are years apart in age, so there could have been failed pregnancies in between. I know, Rona, that's true. But there's like, I think 5 years between them, right? Is it 5? He was 10 when he went missing. 10, was it? 9 or 10? And she was 17 at the time. So there's 7.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah. But I think that what they were saying was that there was like earlier on, like earlier before Kat was even born, that there was some kind of a I don't know. There's a lot there. Yes, she jumped in the pond with Kat. That's right. She didn't go, right? And that's what makes us think it wasn't her time to really go. Colton is really stuck time traveling and can't control his destiny. Oh, landing in different time errors. Oh, I wonder why.
Time traveler's wife. That's my theory.
Yeah, I'm wondering why. Is it because maybe he suffered an injury of some sort and he can't, or
nope. In the book, he literally couldn't control it, and he would just get plopped down in different eras. And occasionally he would be able to come back home, and his wife was just brokenhearted. I think it. Oh my gosh, that was such a sad book. Never mind.
Yeah. This is Paula was trying to explain what I was saying. Like Susanna, she was it would be the future for her because she was not alive in around that time. So she was born all the way back then. Yes, I know that, Janice. That's why I said she could have had a miscarriage. Basically, if Jacob hasn't disappeared, this would be his current time. Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't get too married to that whole theory about can't come to the future, though, folks. Seriously. We'll see what happens in season 3.
William came after Jacob had shown up. I feel like, though, he had, I don't know. I have to go back and look at that because now I don't remember, and I'm sorry. I got to see what that says. William was their second son. Okay. Because their first one died. William was born after Jacob arrived. Okay. Maybe all those stickers on Colton's guitar were places and time periods he time traveled to before he met Dell. I'll have to look a little closer at the guitar to see what exactly on it. Well, I heard the writers talk about the guitar, and they didn't really put much into the guitar like that. They said it was just something that just happened. Coil is a term or a name or something with has to do with the type of guitar or whatever, and they use that name for the Thomas Quill. Now people think there's a connection, which they can make later on. But I think they had talked about it. It doesn't mean they wouldn't, you know what I mean? But we just zero into all the little Easter eggs. Christina says, so confusing. It's amazing the writers can keep track of it all. We all need to make notes in a logbook. People have notes. They really do. So, all right, Dell and Colton. I feel like while I think that the 1814 is the root of what happened, I feel like the relationship of Dell and Colton is really the root of what happened. And as we learn more about their love story and how they got together and why they got together, then more of the mystery will unfold. Because who knows, maybe Dell's ancestors who made their way down into the Carolinas also had made their way up from the Carolinas. It could be anything. Yes. So I'm just thinking to myself, there's so many possibilities that they don't even know about. Maybe they have, history is like kind of repeating itself. It could be great great grandma, because when the whole area was settled history wise, when you think about a lot of like what was Maine was Canada, what wasn't. So there could be many whole theories behind all of that. Let's see. I think maybe Dell did the designs on Colton's guitar at some point. Oh, okay. It's in the almanac, I believe, 2 years after Jacob arrived. His date of birth is in the almanac. Okay. I'm not disputing it. In my head, I just don't remember what it was. Yes, they stayed and had William. Then William had little Jacob, and so on and so on. That's why our Jacob had to go back so they'd stay in Port Haven. And that's that whole what came first, the chicken or the egg. I need a whiteboard to keep track of all the connections. Yes. Yes, Christina. Christina, like Elliot's logbook. Yes. Okay. All right. And that makes sense. I get it. So I love how they keep trying to push her forward after, I mean, geez, how many years has it been? And she's trying to like move on to a new man, but she just can't.
Because coincidentally, just as she's, thinking I'm ready to move on, little pop up Colton, shows up. Excuse me. And I think, in addition to being still madly in love with Colton, I think there's also probably a very deep, very large undercurrent of anger.
Yeah.
Like, really? You left me here to deal with all of this while you go gallivanting across the galaxy and time eras?
Yes.
I think he's going to have to do a little bit of
sucking up.
Yeah. And I will predict that just as she decides to give Sam a chance, even though her total heart may not be in it, that's when Colton's going to pop up for reals.
How much can they all take? They'll all be stunned. Like, how much especially Dell, like, regardless if she knows about the pond or not, what she does know is she can't find her son. Right. And anything could have happened to him. So I feel like her just figuring out about, I feel like she won't find out about Colton until the end of at all. And it's either one of them.
It's going to be its own storyline. I think that's going to be a thread, a real thread running through the story.
Yes.
And I think that's why they brought him back at the end of season 2. He's going to play a role in season 3 for sure.
But no, he is. He absolutely is. But I'm not. But I was thinking maybe someone else will figure it out. Someone else is going to cross paths in some way, shape, or form with him.
Could it be? I don't know. Elliot?
I don't know. I feel like
one to him other than blood family.
I think you're so correct, because that when he went back in time, he didn't see his dad. He didn't see whoever. He saw Colton.
Mm-hmm.
And when Colton came back, those two were sitting together having a conversation with the fireworks, and Colton was watching himself and Elliot.
I would love a storyline where Colton and Elliot have been somehow colluding they know stuff that just the two of them know, and they end up with Dell and Kat, slaying them because of what they've kept from the rest of the family.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
And
It's
it's
just
just so you know, I'm having that name copyrighted, so I may start charging for people to use that name.
back off. We did we, when we met with him, we did tell him about Grandpa Hunky,
I'm
didn't
not
we?
sure he was really happy about it, just from the grandpa part, but but it was only because he's grandpa on the show.
Yes, not and it's all right. In the episode when Alice mails the letter in season 1, you could see someone running through the woods when Alice gets out of the pond. I think it's Colton. Cindy, people are giving me some homework. I got to go back and look at that, Cindy. I feel like Colton will show up in season 3 because Kat said to Jacob she wished Dad could see this.
Hmm.
So I think that I absolutely think he's going to be in season 3. But what I think though, and I also think it's not on social media on purpose. We're not going to see him golfing with the guys because they don't want us to know that he's there. But what I do think is that somebody's going to know, maybe more than one somebody. But I don't think Dell, everything is going to be told to Dell in one shot. I think she's either going to know Colton's alive and not Jacob because he's running around, or Jacob's alive and Colton is running around, something like that.
I can think of so many cool storylines that they could directions they could take this in season 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so many. So Dell has, like, of course we say she's the matriarch of the show. This is why I think that there's more to her lineage and her family. I don't know. I just think that there's more to it. Right now it seems like it's, and that whole imposter thing. I'm not saying that she is a Landry. I don't mean that. I'm just saying she always felt like she didn't have a right to be there. She brings that up. And
Hmm.
I'm curious, like I said, I'm very curious, and I hope they go into the 70s and we get to see it. And if they don't go into the 70s yet to show how they met, they might go when Colton's even younger. It could be, you know what I mean? And Dell, and we could see how they arrived. I don't know. There's so much that they could do. I'm really excited about it. So
Yeah.
our next relationship, are we going to do Dell with Kat and Alice together, or
That would work. Or we could do Dell and the veterinarian.
you can't let that go?
Now,
So it's
yes, we can do Dell and Kat and Alice. Oh my.
Dell, Kat, and Alice. All right. All right. I love it. And then since we're with Kat, we can move on to Kat just Kat and Alice, Kat and Elliot, Kat and whoever else, we'll be in deep water when we do that.
Yeah, Kat and Alice. So that'll be a fun one to explore that one.
Because they're such a dynamic duo from their best friends, and then they become, their mother-daughter.
Hmm.
So this week is Friendship Week. Thank you for being my friend.
Oh, I didn't know it was, but happy Friendship Week to you too.
Yeah. And we're posting all the different friendships. Each week we have a little thing in our group. Like on Monday, I think it's Young Cat and Alice, and people could post little edits and whatnot. And then tomorrow, I don't know, it's tomorrow Jacob and Thomas, I think. So we have something for each day. Christina put it up for us, so it's fun.
That's pretty cool.
I know, it is cool. Yeah. All right.
And who can forget the deep, abiding friendship with me and Grandpa Hunky?
I know. I know. Yeah. All right, let's just before we go, we have some spoilers here, which I love. Arlene says, I saw Samora is on set shooting as Monica. Yes, and I love her. I love Samora. Post that, Arlene. Share that with us. Tomorrow, Christina says, is Jacob and Thomas. And I was just going to say boys and girls. And just because you may not have posted Monday and it becomes Tuesday, you could still post if you come up with something cool for Monday. Jan says, who was that told Jacob and Alice to never go by the pond? Was it Dell or Colton? Whoever must have known about the pond magic. I think both of them said it. One for just like it was a sinkhole you could drown. You're a youngin, and the other was probably because they knew more about.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. All right, all right. We're going to end with Catherine. Perhaps there's a connection between Dell and Thomas. Thomas could have traveled to the Carolinas to trade with Dell's ancestors. Catherine,
Reading.
I love it. We do know when he was on with me, he announced that he was coming back. We know he did sign that contract because he goes, I didn't sign a contract yet because we saw them all golfing together.
I wonder if it's possible that Thomas is one of Dell's ancestors.
That's what she's saying. Yeah.
I love it.
I love that. And if not, we can speak it out there and someone could hear us and maybe they'll make it happen.
There you go.
That'll be fun. All right. Good night, folks. We're doing like every other Monday. We're not doing every Monday because we have crazy schedules. So we did the first Monday and then we were off last Monday. We did this Monday. We'll be off the next Monday. And we'll come back on what Monday?
26.
What is it?
August 26th.
August 26th for Dell, Kat, and Alice. All right. Good night. Good night,
Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the ideas and the food for thought.
Yes. Thank you.